This week our topic is neighborly business, proactive and reactive. And what is neighborly business? Well, it's the type of business that comes from the neighbors and neighborhoods of your existing customers. These often untapped resources can provide new business when times are slow and significantly increase a shop's customer base. Generating neighborly business is actually a form of networking. In the traditional sense, networking means building business through personal contacts with potential customers. You know, by joining clubs and associations, giving your business cards to people you meet at parties, airports, and in other non-business related situations. As a matter of fact, your shop has probably made several local connections within your community for just this purpose. But it's important to recognize and take advantage of other opportunities as well. And that's where all of you service technicians come in. And what opportunities for generating additional business might you have? Well, when you're in the field, there are two ways they can contribute. The first is by taking a proactive approach. That's generally involving clover leafing. Clover leafing is the distribution of your company literature, refrigerator magnets, memo pads, or other marketing items to the homes surrounding a current job site. Now, most often, clover leafing is limited to the homes on either side and directly across the street. However, in some cases, entire streets or even neighborhoods are included in a sort of marketing blitz. Although many technicians conduct their own clover leafing, it can prove time-consuming. So to be more time efficient, some companies use ride-along helpers, apprentices or part-timers like high school students, to cover a much larger area. That way, while the technician is inside handling the customer's problem, the helper can be busy outside distributing your marketing flyers or specially prepared envelopes. Now, what exactly are these specially prepared envelopes? Nothing mysterious. Just plain envelopes with a note on the front saying, "Sorry we missed you. We were doing some work at the Smith's house." Inside the envelope you might include an introductory letter, a discount coupon, special promotion magnet, or whatever you consider to be the most effective marketing tool for generating new business in your area. Call Contractors 2000 if you're looking for specific ideas for your business. Oh, and one note, it helps to hand write the notes to make them seem more personal. Studies show that in general, people are much more likely to read notes that appear neatly handwritten, especially script, than those that are obviously pre-printed. This type of personal touch adds sincerity to your message.
Hey, Rocky, want to trade? I'm done with this one.
What are you doing reading? Who? You're reading? Who's answering the phones, for Christ's sake?
And just what phone calls am I supposed to be answering? The phone ain't exactly ringing off the hook, you know?
I don't get it, all right? I spent years building up a business here, sacrificing for these customers. You would think that one of them would have the decency to call up and maybe give us a job here or something.
Give me this. Thanks, Rock.
No, I've never used your services before, but one of your employees was doing work at my neighbor's house, the Petersons, and he left a handwritten note in my mailbox along with a coupon that said I was eligible for a free service dispatch. Yes, sure. I'm at 1802 New Hampshire.
Now, if you don't want to use envelopes or plastic bags, you don't have to. In fact, you could just jot a similar note on the back of your business card and drop it into the neighbor's mail slot. But before you rush out to begin clover leafing any of your customers' neighbors, remember to be courteous and ask permission first. This is an essential part of not only developing trust, but of maintaining it. After all, how would you feel if someone started putting your name on their advertisements without asking your permission?
Hi, Janet. It's Gwen. I'm good, thanks. And you? Well, I just called to see what you thought of the plumbers who were working at your house. Rocky and Sons. Somebody stuffed a flyer in my mailbox, and they said they were doing work at your house. And so, you're kidding? That bad? But why did you let them put your name? You didn't. Oh my God, that's terrible. Thanks, Mike. Finally, I can start using my sink again.
You're very welcome, Mrs. Franklin. Hey, before I head out, can I ask you a quick question?
Sure.
I was just wondering how well you know your neighbors. I mean, are you friendly with them? Do you know their names?
Well, I'm friendly with most of them, especially Fran and Tom who live across the street. But for the most part, we just wave and say hi when we see each other, you know, that sort of thing. But a lot of us have small kids, like Greg and I, and so we kind of watch each other's back.
Oh, that's nice.
Why do you ask?
Well, I was just wondering if it'd be all right with you if I dropped off some literature about my company with your neighbors and mentioned that we were doing some work for you.
Sure, that would be fine.
Okay,
as a matter of fact, I'd be happy to tell them what a great job you did with this sink.
Oh, thanks. Hey, that's the kind of publicity I need. Do you think any of your neighbors might need my services? You know, as long as I'm here, maybe I can be of help.
I'll wager that some of you watching right now are reluctant to do clover leafing. Maybe your shop tried it and the program was discontinued. Maybe you think it's not worth the 1 or 2 minutes it takes to leave the note at the neighbor's door. Maybe you think it's somehow degrading and beneath you. Well, I've got news for you. The reason some shops discontinued clover leafing isn't because the owner or manager thought it was a waste of time. Not at all. It's because the techs were reluctant to do it. And here's another news flash, folks. In case you haven't noticed, dropping off information at a neighbor's house is a common practice in the home service industry. In fact, it happens every day at millions of homes across the country. When you think about it, it's really just personally delivered mail. And why is it so common? Because it works. Not only that, but it's a heck of a lot cheaper than getting customers through yellow page ads. In a couple of minutes it may take to cloverleaf, you may bring in thousands of dollars in sales. So now, what if you don't like the idea of spreading paper or plastic bags around the neighborhood? No problem. You see, cloverleafing can be done over the phone too. Just pick up the phone and explain to your customers' neighbors that you're in the neighborhood and ask whether they might require your services. Of course, whether you're calling on the phone or hand delivering a note, cloverleafing is likely to be more successful for certain types of jobs and in certain types of situations. For example, when the homes in the neighborhood have all been built in about the same time period, they tend to have the same appliances and plumbing. So when you're working on an old furnace, one that's just about at the end of its lifespan, it's highly probable that other surrounding homes have or will have the same need for your services. Although it will depend on the neighborhood and the product involved, such as water heaters, furnaces, air conditioners, and repipes, it pays to have a policy of cloverleafing whenever certain types of jobs have been completed. Okay, we've covered the proactive approach. Next, let's examine how neighborly business can be reactive. Has this ever happened to you? A neighbor sees your truck in the driveway and asks you to take a look at a problem they're having? It's actually quite common. People sometimes assume that because you're already in the area, you might be willing to cut a deal. You know, offer some kind of discount or at least waive the dispatch fee. And maybe you would. But first, you must check with your dispatcher. Neighborly business that comes to you or is reactive can certainly be a great source of revenue as well, especially when it's slow. However, there is a danger. You see, scheduling is a very tricky business. New calls come in, people cancel, emergencies pop up, just about anything is possible. So you never really know what may be awaiting you unless you contact your base of operations. Always check with your dispatcher before agreeing to do unscheduled work. Granted, you might think you're helping your company by accepting unscheduled work from a customer's neighbor. And maybe you are. But what happens if you accept a job on a leaky faucet when dispatch has just received a call for a repipe? Or knowing that you're already booked, you may turn down the neighbor's furnace job only to find out your next job is a non-emergency clean and check. If you know you're booked with a job that is more urgent, simply be honest and say, "I appreciate your request. Unfortunately, I've made a prior commitment to a customer who's at home waiting for me. But if it's okay with you, I'd like to arrange for someone else from my company to come out and help you." Most customers will understand the situation and agree. Then all you have to do is call your shop and let them take it from there. Well, that's all for this week. I hope you enjoyed learning about neighborly business, both proactive and reactive. Goodbye for now, and I'll see you again in a later module.